There you see children fleeing in the Osmach region of Cambodia, right on the Thailand and Cambodia border. This follows airstrikes by Thailand into Cambodia after Thailand says that Cambodia has been shooting into the Thailand side of the border, killing a Thai soldier and injuring a number of other Thai soldiers. Cambodia says that Thailand was shooting first, each side pointing fingers at each other. Regardless, Donald Trump's so-called ceasefire or peace deal between Thailand and Cambodia is done. Frankly, it never existed in the first place, as we reported on the MeidasTouch network. It was a fake. It was a fugazi. It was another Donald Trump fraud where he brought the sides together in late October to take a photo. He claimed that China has nothing to do with any of this, when China is obviously working behind the scenes there as well. That offended China, and Donald Trump just did a photo op pretending that there was a peace deal between Thailand and Cambodia when it never actually existed. More on that in a moment. Also, we see war continuing between Congo and Rwanda. You'll recall last week Donald Trump brought in the leaders of Congo and Rwanda, and what I pointed out is I said this is a fake deal. The M23 group, which is the group that's making these incursions into Congo, which is affiliated with Rwanda, which Rwanda denies affiliations with this M23 group, was not at the meeting. And I said this was just a fake meeting between Congo and Rwanda, and there's no peace. I said while that peace deal was being signed, I said this was a fraud. I said the war's still going. And I remember I showed one of the reporters from Africa saying, well, it's great that you're announcing this, but when's like the fighting going to stop? Because the war is still taking place between Congo and Rwanda, and we've actually seen an acceleration of that war right now. Now, another thing that's important that we point out also is that the war in Ukraine from Russia's invasion is only getting worse. And now the United States has put out its national security strategy, where it says it is official United States policy to undermine the European Union, to prop up groups in Europe that will seek to dissolve the European Union and support Vladimir Putin. And under the national security strategy by the United States, it is now official policy that the Trump regime has announced to undermine the expansion of NATO as a permanent organization. I'll go through each of these points with you, but first, why don't we start at the border between Thailand and Cambodia right here, and let's hear what's happening right here from one of the local news networks right here, where Thai military launching airstrikes following these repeated clashes along the disputed border with Cambodia. One Thai soldier killed. A military buildup in earnest is taking place right now. The president of the Cambodia Senate has canceled the work schedule as they're in full war mode, and you have in Thailand as well a cancellation of a lot of the schools, 641 schools and colleges closed as war is breaking out. Here, let's play this clip of Thai military launching airstrikes following repeated clashes.
But Thailand says it has deployed air assets along its disputed border with Cambodia after reporting multiple clashes along the border. Our correspondent Saksith Sambat is joining us live from Bangkok with more. Saksith, give us an update on the latest situation along that Thai-Cambodian border.
Yes, what we are seeing here seems to be a very risky escalation at the disputed Thai-Cambodian border. This morning, the Royal Thai Army issued a statement saying that there have been repeated multiple clashes along the border at 2 points and at 2 different instances in the past morning, in the past night. This is also follows another incident that happened on Sunday afternoon, where Thai soldiers have been injured. In the clashes in the latest clashes, one Thai soldier reportedly has been killed. And in response to that, the Royal Thai Army has then now deployed air fighters and air jets to strike military targets along the border, as it says. That's also have been evacuation orders for 4 villages along the Thai borders as well. Now, of course, in any of these kind of incidents, there are 2 sides of the story. We have been receiving the statements from the Cambodian defense ministry spokesperson saying that Thailand shot first, that Thailand was the one who was violating the sovereignty of the country and who was striking first. Obviously, we cannot verify this. We cannot verify it at this point in time. And really, with any kind of these armed clashes, it's really hard to ascertain who really shot first here.
Right now, let me show you what's going down in the Congo here. And again, you're not getting this perspective on American media, right? I mean, objectively, you're not. And this is why, let me just ask you right now, please subscribe to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel. Getting accurate information that no one else is reporting is so freaking critical right now. And I'm not just saying that because I'm one of the founders of this network. We need to get out the truth. We're on our way to 6 million subscribers. You may think you're subscribed, but you may not be subscribed. Obviously, because of the truth that we're telling, we're under attack by the Trump regime, by corporate media here. They want to destroy us and shut us down. So please, the one favor I ask, and I don't ask a lot, please make sure you subscribe to this channel. Now, let's talk about what's going on in Congo as fighting flares up. It's been getting worse in the Congo since Donald Trump brought the leaders of Congo and Rwanda together. Let's just play local media about what's going on there.
All right, and now we set the stage for our conversation on the DRC after the deal. Fierce fighting continued in the eastern DRC hours after the signing of a peace accord between DRC's President Felix Tshisekedi and his Rwandan counterpart Paul Kagame. Hundreds of people fled the towns of Luvungi and Katogota in South Kivu following fresh attacks on Friday. The latest attacks put into question the commitments of the Washington Accord, a peace deal signed in the United States that is meant to stop the ongoing war between the Congolese armed forces and the Rwanda-backed M23 and stabilize the region plagued by armed conflict and militia activity. Safina Chinguma has that development.
Hosted by U.S. President Donald Trump, Presidents Felix Tshisekedi of Congo and Paul Kagame of Rwanda signed a peace agreement on Thursday that rekindled the hope of peace in the war-torn eastern Congo region. And even before the ink on this landmark diplomatic agreement dried, fighting has flared up again in the east of the DRC, with the Rwandan-backed M23 rebel group and the Congolese army blaming each other for the spate of attacks in villages across North and South Kivu that saw many flee their homes.
Now, folks, things are getting much worse in Ukraine as well, and in Europe. As I mentioned, the Trump regime put out its national security strategy for the United States. This is the official foreign policy of the U.S. They want to, according to the U.S., cultivate resistance to Europe's current trajectory within European nations, and then end the perception and prevent the reality of NATO as a perpetually expanding alliance. So you have that taking place as well. Let's hear from the former United States commander for the U.S. Army in Europe, Ben Hodges, who I know you've seen on the MeidasTouch network a lot. He explains how the Trump regime's new national security strategy is a giant middle finger to Europe. Here's what retired General Hodges has to say. Let's play this clip.
This is a giant middle finger to that Europe by this administration. I think the happiest person in the world with this document is Vladimir Putin, because this strategy cedes Europe to the Russian sphere of influence. And this is out in the open now. It's not, there's no nuance. It's out in the open. And I think that Europe better, number one, ensure that Ukraine does not fail. And number two, it better be ready, because if Ukraine does fail, there will be a full war between Russia and Europe very soon.
The way you put it, Ben Hodges, makes it sound historic and alarming. Is that what it is?
Well, historic in terms of American failure, turning our back on not only our allies of over 80 years, but also damaging ourselves. I mean, for all these years, our European allies have given us access with bases, intelligence sharing, We've served together in so many different theaters. We've stood shoulder by shoulder in diplomatic circles, and now this is the giant middle finger to that Europe by this administration, understandably making a priority defense of the homeland in Western Hemisphere and Indo-Pacific. That's not new. What's new is clearly this is about spheres of influence, and for the Trump administration, Europe is not going to be that sort of strategic interest to us anymore.
Now that it's getting cold, my cats have started their daily migration to lying on top of our heating vents, which for some reason makes them unusually hungry. Thankfully, we've got Smalls. This podcast is sponsored by Smalls. Listeners know my cat simply cannot live without Smalls. For a limited time, get 60% off your first order plus free shipping when you head to smalls.com/Meidas. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients you'd find in your fridge, and it's delivered right to your door. That's why Cats.com named Smalls their best overall cat food. Starting with Smalls is easy. Just share info about your cat's diet, health, and food preferences. Then Smalls puts together a personalized sampler for your cat. No more picking between random brands at the store. Smalls has the right food to satisfy any cat's cravings. My cat Chubbs eats Smalls every day. His favorite flavor is that chicken and turkey. My cat prefers Smalls way more than previous cat food, and I legitimately did a taste test. I put 2 bowls side by side, and they immediately went to Smalls. Since making the switch to Smalls, my cat has had fewer hairballs, a more balanced energy, and a healthier weight, a softer and shinier fur coat, and a less stinky litter box. That's huge! Smalls also has a bunch of amazing treats and snacks you can add to your order. My cat loves the treats that came in the most recent shipment. After switching to Smalls, 88% of cat owners reported overall health improvements. That's a big deal. What are you waiting for? Give your cat the food they deserve. For a limited time, because you are a MeidasTouch podcast listener, get 60% off your first order plus free shipping when you head to smalls.com/Meidas. One last time, that's 60% off your first order plus free shipping when you head to smalls.com/Meidas.
Now, we're also hearing from Ukrainian President Zelensky. Here's what he says. Ukraine deserves a dignified peace, and whether there will be peace depends entirely on Russia, on our collective pressure on Russia, and on the sound negotiating positions of US, Europe, and all our other partners. Russia must be held accountable for what it's doing, for the daily strikes, for the constant terror against our people, and for the war itself. And Zelensky writes how every day and every night, our emergency services deal with the aftermath of Russian strikes on peaceful Ukrainian cities and communities. This week alone, and I know again, this isn't getting a lot of attention, Russia launched over 1,600 attack drones, around 1,200 guided aerial bombs, and around 70 missiles of various types against Ukraine. The primary targets of these strikes are infrastructure that keeps everyday life going. And then there's also attacks on places where people live, on residential areas. Meanwhile, Russia's state regime hacked the way we have Caroline Levitt. In the United States, they have a guy named Peskov over there. Peskov is their Levitt. And Peskov says, we're very pleased with the United States aligning with the Russian position about Europe and about NATO. We are very closely aligned. And he says that is a good thing for the relationship between Russia and the United States as Donald Trump throws Europe and Ukraine under the bus. A lot of issues happening as well as the United States has removed itself as the leader of the free world and now makes itself a proxy of Putin and Russia. Japan is lodging formal diplomatic complaints against China following 2 separate incidents over the weekend in which J-15 carrier-based multi-role fighters from Chinese aircraft carriers Longning locked their fire control radars onto Japanese F-15Js that had been scrambled against possible airspace violations by China off the island of Okinawa in southern Japan. Now, this comes as the United States, through Donald Trump, yelled at Prime Minister Takaishi in Japan because Xi Jinping told Donald Trump, you got to get Japan to chill out because Japan is saying that if we invade Taiwan, that they're going to defend Taiwan. United States, you got to do the bidding of Xi Jinping. So go tell Japan to shut up. And Donald Trump called up Takaishi of Japan and told her to shut up. And she was like, huh? Weren't we just saying what America policy used to be, which was to help Taiwan if it gets invaded? Nope. Donald Trump is a bootlicker of Xi Jinping and Putin right now. Also, the German parliament unveiling its plans right now to ramp up the military growth there, as I think Europe is on and is preparing for a war footing now that the U.S. is basically embracing Russia to take over Ukraine and then go after Europe. So I think Europe is getting ready for potential war with Russia in a very meaningful way. While that's taking place, you had Israel, Qatar, and Trump holding secret meetings in New York this past weekend. You had drones, likely of Russian origin, this past week flying over nuclear submarines in France. This is part of France's main nuclear deterrent area, and you see it right there on this map. And this also follows drones, likely of Russian origin, potentially engaging in an assassination attempt on Zelensky's life in Ireland earlier last week before Zelensky spoke to the parliament in Ireland. And but for Zelensky arriving early, those drones would have been directly in the flight of the plane, and a successful assassination could have taken place. Now, with all of this going on, I want to remind you of a few data points as well. Like, do you remember back on October 26, 2025, when Donald Trump said the following about Thailand and Cambodia? Here, play this clip.
So now these gentlemen are about to sign what we're calling the Kuala Lumpur Peace Accords. Good name. Both countries are agreeing to cease all hostilities and work to build good neighborly relationships, which have already started. 18 Cambodian prisoners of war will be released, and under this agreement, observers from ASEAN countries, including Malaysia, will be deployed to make sure that the peace prevails and endures. I have no doubt that it will.
Yep, just another made-up thing. Last night, this is what Donald Trump said about that he's disappointed about Zelensky. He said Zelensky didn't read our proposal that we've given him. Yes, he has. It's the proposal for Ukrainian surrender to Russia. It's been rejected, Donald, you traitor. Here's what Trump says about Zelensky. Let's play it.
About Ukraine talks. What's your next step in Russia-Ukraine talks after last week's negotiations?
So we've been speaking to President Putin, and we've been speaking to Ukrainian leaders, including Zelensky, President Zelensky. And I have to say that I'm a little bit disappointed that President Zelensky hasn't yet read the proposal. That was as of a few hours ago. His people love it, but he hasn't. Russia's fine with it. Russia, I guess, would rather have the whole country when you think of it. But Russia is, I believe, fine with it. But I'm not sure that Zelensky is fine with it. His people love it, but he hasn't read it. So someday you'll explain that one to me, Jeff.
I don't have an explanation, sir.
Now, finally, I want to share this with you because you've all seen that Donald Trump made FIFA award him a fake peace prize. While all of this is going down, while I just showed you war raging in Congo, while I just showed you war raging in Thailand and Cambodia, worse than it was under former President Biden. Like, these wars are happening because of America's weakness, and then Donald Trump's fake peace deals. No one takes this guy frickin' seriously. He's a frickin' clown. But remember, before Donald Trump gave himself a fake FIFA peace prize, remember that? Well, Donald Trump did a red carpet event before the fake FIFA Peace Prize where he pretended that he wasn't going to get the award. And then the reporter's like, well, we hear you may be winning this award. He goes, well, I've solved 8 wars. I don't know if I'm going to win anything yet, but I guess we'll see what happens. You're a clown. You're a traitor. You're a treasonous piece of crap. Call out this fascist, vile regime for what it is, because they are making us so much damn weaker. And look what's happening in the world right now. Look what's happening. Look what's taking place. Here, play this clip.
1 billion eyeballs. Today's numbers are very, very big.
You're expected to get the FIFA Peace Prize, Mr. President. What would you say to people who say that prize might conflict with your pledge to strike Venezuela?
Well, I think the Peace Prize, I settled 8 wars. I don't know that I'm getting it. I haven't been officially noticed. I've been hearing about a Peace Prize, and I'm here to represent our country in a different sense. But I can tell you I did settle 8 wars, and we have a 9th coming, which nobody's ever done before. But I want to really save lives. I don't need prizes. I need to save lives, and we're saving a lot of lives. I've saved millions and millions of lives, and that's really what I want to do. And I also want to run a great country. And the United States right now is the hottest country anywhere in the world. And 1 year ago it was dead. We had a dead country, and now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world.
And by the way, you know what also is taking place? Modi met with Putin. You had Macron meet with Xi Jinping. Okay, you have so much shifting of a global world order where America's becoming the weakest right now. That's what actually is happening. And what? NATO's breaking apart. Russia's asserting itself. The level of changes in the past week is unprecedented. We haven't seen anything like this, I think, since what happened right before World War I, frankly, is kind of the closest analog to what's happening right now. Any event, this is why you need to subscribe, because we're giving you this information nobody else is. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers, and thank you so much for watching. Hey Midas Mighty, it's Ben, Brett, and Jordy, and we just want to thank you for being the backbone of this movement.
This year tested us more than ever, but together we proved that pro-democracy voices don't just compete, we win.
We took on the entire MAGA machine, won a Webby for Podcast of the Year,
the MeidasTouch podcast,
and you were with us every step of the way.
And trust us, what we're working on next is bigger, bolder, and built for 2026.
Let's keep this momentum going, spread the word, we are just getting started.
Shout out to the Midas Mighty!